The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I want to share with you an unbelievable story that happened to somebody that I know close, a family relative. So I know the story from firsthand. It sounds like one of those old Baal Shem Tov stories, but it happened literally a couple of years ago in Bar Park. One of my family members had an issue with his relative that was stuck behind the border in Canada. It was a huge immigration case that was not easy on the whole family. It was a lot of pain in Yisuim. A lot of frustration was going on. It was a real test. This relative of mine was told, you need to get a bracha, you need to enter the Shmaya. So he was told, go to the Skulener Rebbe. The Skulener Rebbe, Zechet Tzadik V'Kodesh Avrocha, passed away a couple of years ago. Now his son is the Rebbe. The Skulener Rebbe lived right next to Shomer Shabbos in Bar Park. Those who live in Brooklyn know that place, famous place. So my relative went to Bar Park. He hopped on the bus from Lakewood to Bar Park. And then he went to the Skulener Rebbe. It took him a good few hours to wait online to get to meet the Rebbe. He davened Ma'ariv with him. And he wrote this relative's name on the kvittelach. Before you go to the Rebbe, you write the name that you want the bracha for on a piece of paper. So he wrote his relative that's stuck behind the border, that's going through a hard situation, immigration. It was a very complicated case. He wrote that person's name on the kvittelach to give it to the Rebbe for a bracha. And this relative told me that he davened to Hashem before, and he said, Hashem, please help me out. I need to enter the Shmaya. Please give the Rebbe, let us enter the Shmaya, that the bracha should work, and that my relative will be able to enter the country again and will ease all the pain from the family. He started davening to Hashem. He finally gets his turn in front of the Rebbe. He said he was on his knees, and he was holding the Rebbe's hand, the really holy hands of the Heilige Skulener Rebbe. For those who met him, he had a face of a baby. He was totally kadosh and taho. And as the Rebbe was reading the name, listen to what happened. This happened a couple of years ago. As the Rebbe is reading the name of the relative that's stuck behind the border, as he's reading it, one of the greatest askanim of the immigration of the Satmar community walks in. One of the greatest askanim, and askan is a person that's very involved in the government, involved in the community. And one of the greatest ones in immigration walks in at that moment, the same moment that the Rebbe reads the name of the person that needs help with immigration. And this askan hasn't walked in a good 7-8 years to the Rebbe. The Gabayim of the Skulener Rebbe jumped from joy and shock. They couldn't believe that this specific person from the community who can now help this guy out to get into the country, he couldn't believe that he walked in the same moment the Rebbe is reading the name off the paper. And it ends up being that this askan specifically was able to help the case with lawyers and judges. He was able to help the case legally to make sure this person enters the country. We see from Rabbi an unbelievable thing. As the Rebbe was reading off the piece of paper the name of this person that needed a Yeshua salvation, boom, the greatest person that can basically help walks in, even though he wasn't for 7-8 years. Hashem runs the world. Hashem really exists. He really does exist. Hashem is really there. One has to close his eyes and recognize the beauty of Hashem's surroundings 24/7. It's such a waste of life to live a life without Hashem.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org